Today, now we're going to continuation of our worship on this Monday, and this is for the Lectio Divina, and this will be John 12 through 17. Again, John 12 through 17. When he had washed their feet and put on their outer garments, again he went back to the table. Do you understand? He said, what I have done to you. You call me Master and Lord, and rightly so I am. If I, then, the Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you must wash each other's feet. I have given you an example so that you may copy what I have done to you. In all truth, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master. No messenger is greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know this, blessed are you if you behave accordingly. Again, I'll read it again. This is John 13, 12 through 17. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments again, he went back to the table. Do you understand? He said, what I have done to you. You call me Master and Lord, and rightly so I am. If I, then, the Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you must wash each other's feet. I have given you an example so that you may copy what I have done to you. In all truth, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master. No messenger is greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know this, blessed are you if you behave accordingly. Blessed be to God. Let's take a few minutes to let the word of the Bible, this verse of the Bible of John 13, 12 through 17, let it grow in your heart, and we'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, I will go first. And what is this verse of John, the way I perceive it to be, and how it reminds me of so many things. And it's just that you have to lead by example. Don't wait until somebody tells you what to do. Take the initiative to go ahead and do it. It's very difficult to, sometimes we forget that we need to have the courtesy to be able to help, to do things for somebody that you care for. But sometimes we got to do it for the ones that we don't really care for also as well, because it's much more difficult to do it that way. For the ones we love, you do it because of love, because you know them. But if you do it for somebody who pisses you off somewhere else, it is extremely difficult. And I think that all of us probably have gone through that phase. We probably have encountered that individual that even though we want to help, we refuse internally because we don't like either his attitude, maybe it could be his mannerism, maybe the way he comes across, maybe he's arrogant, and we fail to take advantage and be humble and try to do the things for that individual. And sometimes little things that you do, sometimes it changes the heart and the perspective of somebody else. Even though a lot of people may know it as a mean person, but if you give them a little bit of love, little by little, that wall will eventually, you'll be able to tear it down and be able to touch that individual. I had an experience many years ago. There was, when I worked in the field, there was one lady that everybody hated her. It was a dispatcher for testing, and nobody liked to talk to her because she was very demeaning and arrogant and not very friendly. And my approach to her was, I've always said, Helinda, good afternoon or good morning. How are you? How's your day? I always started my conversation that way with her. And anything that I asked from her to help me when I was doing some testing, she always helped me. And yet the rest of the guys that I worked with, they hated to work with her because she doesn't like to help. And I tell her, hey, you guys got to be able to be kind to her. She may be having a bad day, or maybe she has a bad day at work, or I mean at home. And I learned the lesson that sometimes when you encounter people that are difficult in your life, being humble and show the person a little love goes a long ways. And it doesn't matter who it is. So that's from my perspective of what I received from this. So anybody that would like to share, jump in, don't be shy. I don't charge, it's free. Let's see who's here. Araceli?
I'll jump in, Nacho.
Okay.
Uh, for me, it was, you know, Christ, he gave us the example when he washed his disciples' feet. And so the same, like he calls us to be humble in service, I think. And uh, in talking to a friend recently, and she was telling me how she and her husband went to look for this man that they knew he was homeless. His parents had passed away, and he fell into a deep depression. So then they finally found him. They brought him home, and he's not family, but they brought him home, and he was when they found him, he was drunk and on the street. And so she said that they let him stay in the garage, and in the process, like he was like defecating on himself. And anyways, they eventually had to hospitalize him because he was I think his liver was giving out. So he was in ICU for a while, and they thought he wasn't going to make it. And she was there every day making sure that um that he was being taken care of, and just to get updated, spend time with him. And the doctor said, like, we don't think he's going to live past 4 days. And they kept saying that. Anyways, she said that he's been sober for 6 months, and he's in treatment with his, regards to his liver, but he's working, and he has found a room where he stays. And so when she shared that testimony of her service, like, I was just like, wow, like, how she has saved this man's life, like her and her family. And her kids were opposed because they had to share the restroom with this man. And she said, I said, we have to help him. Like he has no one. And his parents were, they deserve that, deserve to know that we help their son. So anyway, so she reminded me of how sometimes we do have to be selfless, and that's hard sometimes to even serve the people that are in our own family, in our own home. And so sometimes we need to start with them, right, with our family. So God really touched me through her story, and just seeing how I can do more, because sometimes we think, we're doing enough, but that, there's more that we can do in serving others. And again, Christ really, he set that example for us over and over again.
Thank you, Yoli. Anybody else? Ramon?
Yeah, I'll share.
Okay.
Um, for me, it was uh, like everybody has said, humility. God was teaching us humility there, and also like that we're all equal. Like that we shouldn't think that we're better than others because of our knowledge or our schooling or the diplomas we have in our walls, or that we should always remember that we're not better than others, but we're all equal, we're all the same. And I think that's how Jesus approached everyone, right? He didn't approach them as a king, as this man that was greater than them, even though he was a king, even though he was the Lord, but he approached them as if he wasn't, just like they were. So he was trying to teach not only the disciples, but us too, that every time we encounter somebody, it doesn't matter what their stance is, if they're poor, if they're rich, we're the same. And we shouldn't feel less, and we shouldn't make other people feel lesser than either. That's for me how it spoke to me, that I should always see others the same as me. I'm not better than them. And that's not anybody, not only people that believe, but people that don't believe. Everybody that I encounter, I should always see them as how I would want to treat myself, treat others the same way. And that'll be the best way to in sharing Christ with others. Never with judgment, and always never thinking that I'm better than them. That's what stood out for me. Like, never think that you're better than someone. No matter how long you've served the Lord, no matter if you know this better than someone else, no. You're the same. You're the same, and always treat people with respect.
Thank you, Nina. Anybody else? Ramon? Araceli?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I would like to share. It was very touching to hear, the story that we just heard about the homeless, and how we're all supposed to be Christ-like, and that was something that Jesus would have done. And it just reminds me, um, like sometimes I go and get pedicures, and it's when it hits me like, wow, they're getting paid, I know, to do a service. But I always think of them that do the service as so humble. Like they're so humble that they would touch my feet, and clean my feet and make my it always makes me think, wow, what a beautiful blessing. But for me to wash somebody's feet, like I don't know why, but it's not easy, like for me to want to do that. It's not easy. You want the service for yourself, but you don't want to do that to somebody. Like the other day, my husband asked me if I could clip, his toenails, and I'm like, oh, like I get very, I don't know why. I have like soy asquerosa. I don't know if you know what that word means, but I don't know why. Like I first of all, I was afraid I was gonna cut him and make him bleed. And then I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should go to the pedicure and do it. But like that would have been the perfect opportunity for me to serve my husband, right? But I couldn't do it. I don't know. I had fear in my mind. I had like, oh, I don't want to, let's just go to the pedicure ladies and have it done. But maybe next time I'll take on just, I feel like I need to humble myself in that area, maybe not just specifically pedicures, but more like, since I've been reading the book, right? It's talking to me about service, how I'm designed to be a servant, right? And I just keep thinking of all these ideas, like, well, what can I do? What can I do to be of service? And I'm pretty sure that God will give me the opportunity to do that. I think I have done some service in the past, but um I would like to do something more intense, like to feel like that humility and that service and love of for the love of Christ. And also what I got out of this was the last sentence. It says, understand this, and blessed are you if you put this into practice. Like, God gives us a clear message that in doing so, there are rewards. Like, not that not that I'm gonna go out there and do it so that I can get a reward. That wouldn't be right. However, if he says it here, he means it for a reason. Like, he wants to reward us. He wants to tell us you will be blessed. And the Bible in many, many places it talks about that. In Sirach, I believe, under where it talks about giving the tithe, like tithing, and you will get el 100 por uno, 100-fold for one that you give. And so I think it's really necessary for us to understand that it's to be of service and to be Christ-like, but also know, like, God is giving us an opportunity to be blessed by that. I believe that's what I got out of it. Thank you.